your hat every 2 days. They used to wear little hats. And it said your customer's not going to notice your pants, but they're going to notice that hat because they're going to try to look at you in the eye. And they're going to know if there's stains or sweat in your hat. So they're going to notice the hat. Change your hat. But that was the neat and clean stuff, and the price was all a part of the brand that he built. And so he was able to identify value. And he did it quickly, right? If you can't identify value quickly, then you're going to go out of business. So he identified value. My dad, hang on one second, sip of water. My dad took over the car washes in the late 70s before I was born. And he identified value. Well, let's talk about this. So when you go into Starbucks, and if you've been, or any coffee shop, you've been there a few times, and the barista says, "Hey, Gary or Richard or whatever your name is, hey, about that caramel latte, venti caramel latte with the extra puff of foam. That's how you like it, and a little bit of scent on the top." When they remember your drink, you're like, "Holy shit, this is awesome." You feel really good. It makes you feel really good. So my dad realized this in the 80s, and he would basically pay his employees to remember the names of his customers. So here's a picture. It actually was behind glass when I snapped the picture with my iPhone. But this is a picture from, I think, the early 80s of his employees. And a couple of them that have actually had the highest name count. I think he paid him a couple bucks per name. He gave him a trophy. It was a big deal for the car wash employees. And I think the winner at one time had like 130 names and tag numbers and make and model of cars remembered. And but so they would pull up and they would say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, yeah, how you doing?" It made the customer feel really good. He was able to identify that value, right? In the late 80s, he kept this naming process in the forefront, or whatever you want to say. He had a high school kid in BASIC build a database so where they could store customer tag numbers, names, make and model, notes, mailing address, birth date, all that kind of stuff. So now you could pull in and the greeter would say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, I know you came in 2 weeks ago and you got this certain wash and you asked for these special requests to make sure the cup holders were clean. But would you like to add hot wax on there?" And so knowing that they're going to take care of you and make sure those little things that you wanted done built a lot of loyalty. A lot of it gave them a lot of emotional value to feel safe and secure. And now that's a car wash standard. That's actually why my dad is like really well known in the car wash businesses. He's like, my dad goes to car wash conventions and meetings and stuff, and he's like the Tim O'Reilly of the car wash business. People take their pictures with him, and it's funny and it's really it's amazing. But so my grandfather and my dad easily identified value to the customer. So another thing about car washes, if you've ever been one, is you're riding through, or you're watching your car, and the foam is going everywhere, and it's blue and it's green, and it's foamy, and it smells like pine, or it smells like bubbles, or soap, or strawberries. Well, I'm about to break it to you, but the thing about all the bubbles and stuff is it's called show in the car wash business. The chemicals don't make the bubbles. That's actually an additive that they add to make the customers feel really, really good. And so it might not have anything to do with it, but it makes the customers feel really good. So in Less Accounting, I added a little welcome mat. Less Accounting is our app. I've mentioned it, but a little welcome mat to the app. It says, "Hey, your account's created. Welcome to Bookkeeping in the Clouds, and let's get started, buddy." It makes people feel really good. It doesn't have anything to do with this. I mean, it's the simplest little thing, but it makes them feel so good. It's how we identify value. So I'm talking about welcome mats. I'm talking about foam and people using your name and all these values. You obviously need to have a good product, but all these values that I'm talking about come from one thing. It's emotional value. It's being able to identify what makes your customer feel good. Now, if you screw up the product and you have a welcome mat, but your app doesn't work, then it really doesn't fucking matter. But if you're able to deliver a good product and then identify emotional values of how the customer can feel better, not just how the UI should flow, but how do they want to feel, you're going to have a more successful product in business. And so another point, and this is, if you're falling asleep, if you're looking on Twitter and you're like, "Oh, this guy Allan he's handsome, but he's stupid," I'm going to tell you the one thing you should know how to stay in business, and it's by not spending money, right? So why Why do it's taken me 30 years to realize this, right? It's simple. It's a simple point. Why do businesses go out of business? Is it because they have a really ugly logo? No, it's not. Is it because their website's really ugly? No, it's not. Is it because they have really stupid marketing? No, it's not that either. It's because they've spent more money than they're making and they've run out of money. When you run out of money, your business is over. So I'm going to even go as far as predicting how your business is going to go out of business. And first realize, you read this, you see spend less and save more. Oh, well, that's great. But let me break it down even further for you. You are literally, if you're a business owner, you are weeks away or months away from going out of business, losing your house, losing your cars, and living with your fucking mom. If the money stops today, stops rolling in, what are you going to do? It's all about how much cash you have saved. And now you might have a great product and you're saying, oh, to Allan, you're talking to somebody else. I've got a great product. Well, here's some things that's happened in my family over the past few years that's created cash flow issues, right? City regulations that added extra expenses into the car wash business, out of their control, right? My brother contracted Lyme disease 3 years ago. They have health insurance, but they also owed $300,000 in medical bills. BP oil spill. I'm in Panama City, Florida, right? You should come down here and see what it's done to the economy. None of these people might have great businesses down here, but because of the oil spill, they were shit out of luck, right? So these outside cash flow hiccup issues or conditions can come from somewhere else. You can deliver a fantastic product. It may never happen to you, but I can guarantee you, out of all the tips that everyone's going to tell you, you're going to have another speaker come in here and say something that might contradict what I'm saying. But no one that's been in business for longer than a few years will ever tell you should have less cash. You should have less cash saved. You should spend more money. People that go out of business spend money on things they think are important, and they're not. The things you think are important probably are not as important as you think. And so I'm going to go back a little bit and predict how your business is going to go out of business, right? So you're going to open a business, you're going to open a consultancy or a web app, and it's going to do well. And your income, you're going to work it for a few years, and it's going to be good. You're going to get some more notoriety, and it's going to be good. You're going to say, I'm working a lot of hours. I deserve a little bit of a bump, a little bit of a raise, if you will. And you're going to feel good. Money is a great temporary justification of doing something you don't really want to do. So you're going to give yourself a little bit of raise. You're going to hire someone. You're going to get a bigger office. You're going to get a nicer car because you want your friends to realize how well you're doing. I certainly want my friends to realize how well I'm doing, which is the reason why my shirt says Allan's doing really well. But you're gonna have a time. And it might be 5 years from now, or 10 years, or even 2 years. But there's going to be a cash flow hiccup. You're going to get sued. You're going to get sick. Something's going to happen where you're going to have a cash flow issue. And it's going to be how well you've prepared yourself. How well you prepared yourself. So I've done enough talking about money. Save money personally and the business for months at a time. You need to have 3 months personal, 3 months business money to last you in case something happens. Or if this will allow you not to have to take projects that you don't want to take if you're doing consultancy. So figure out what's important. So you're probably, I don't know, you might be young, you might be old, you might have kids, I don't know. But I have 2 kids. I'm 30. I'll be 30 tomorrow. And I've got a wife. We've been married for 6 years, I think. She's going to kill me. 7 years? Yeah. I can certainly tell you that I love business, and I love design, and I love all this stuff. But I can tell you that our work, is not nearly as important as this. The sooner you realize that business and work is a tool to allow you to do other things, the happier you'll become, and the less, not dependent, but these things that we get so upset about and that can't wait, they can wait till tomorrow. You can take the afternoon off, and you'll play with your kids. If you are, and I even catch myself when I'm playing with my kids thinking about business, and it's terrible. And I have to tell myself, now is kid time. You need to be there for your kids. My parents, my dad worked so many hours growing up. He missed soccer games and baseball games, but he set an expectation of, he missed these games because Saturday was a busy day. But anyways, he set an expectation of, I would rather be there watching you, but I have to earn a living so we can have a house over our head, so your brothers and sisters can buy books. And I'm going to be there every time I can, but there are going to be times where I'm going to compromise. And I never resented him. He set a great expectation for me, and I hope I set a great expectation for my wife and my children. My grandfather passed away in 1964. So I never met my grandfather. My dad was 10 years old when he died. So a lot of these, I might have learned a lot more. Who knows if he would have been around. But these are things I observed. What's been kind of cool and what makes me more and more proud of my family and is thinking about how my grandfather did all these things 65 years ago and how much they've affected me now. He passed away in 63 in a car wreck. And this is a picture of him. And he basically had set up his business to where he had lists. He had, I think it was 10 restaurants and 2 car washes or something at the time. And basically when he died, he had all these lists of things he needed to do, right? It was Tuesday, Jimmy's on Harrison Avenue gets these orders, order these things for next week. You're going to need to have these things. The car wash needs to have these chemicals on these dates, pay people on these dates. Here's how much a roof cost me to build. He had these ledgers of information of how to run the business that my grandmother used that ran the businesses forever. So another tip might be, find someone to replace you, right? Or make your job automated. He certainly did that. My grandmother lived off his work and stuff for 25 years. Sent my dad to college because of this. All the things my cousins have and have done because of my grandfather, right? So that's a legacy. So maybe it's cheesy, but maybe I should challenge you to build your legacy and go out and do things that your grandkids will talk about. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the internet won't be around. Maybe they'll have like telepathy net or something. But he's affected me. I'm more proud of my family than I am myself. The way my dad has handled customers and defused situations, and he has employees that have worked for him for 25 years. You walk through the halls of my dad's car wash, and it's pictures of employees and remodels, and people would quit and they'd come back, and he built a daycare for his employees. So it's just been amazing to kind of watch them do things, and a lot of these things don't relate to the internet and the stuff that we're doing, but it was a unique way to grow up and a unique way to look at business. And so I'm actually wrapping it up kind of early, but so now you can clap for me virtually, or at least virtual high five or something. So that's that. Let's boom that. So I don't know if we can take questions or not. I thought there was a chat room on this thing. Let's show control bar. Show. Maybe there's a chat room on this thing. I thought there was a chat on this thing. Ben, if you're listening, is there a chat room on this thing? Do we want to do questions? God, it's like behind a little. That's terrible. Oh, there it is. Here we go. How do you determine pricing? Right? Well, I can tell you if you're not charging enough. If you're not charging enough, or if no one's complaining about your price, you're too cheap. It's how we determine, right? But so you need to you build a product for yourself, and you do what you pay for. Any other questions? Did I answer that good enough? Why do I cuss so much? I have a really fucking terrible, dirty fucking mouth. How many customers is realistic to expect in the first week or month? Well, it all depends on how well you built up email lists.